Hello again, players. Would Be Nice is here. Today's topic I'm going to consider a must-have because sometimes we get unplayable expansions, and unplayable expansions are unacceptable, especially when it's one that's hotly anticipated. So one of the things we'll occasionally do in this segment is fix what doesn't work. This time, we're going to fix those Romulan fighters. First, a note about how I try and fix things. My philosophy is to make the fewest and smallest changes I can. Not only does it usually make for a more elegant solution, but I find fewer changes are just plain easier to keep track of. So with that goal in mind, onto the squad. The first time I saw what was in the Scorpion pack, I honestly didn't think they were that bad, but the more I thought on it, the more unplayable I saw them. Yet, I also saw just how close they were to being a ship I would bring to a game, so it's not going to take us that many tweaks to get them into playing shape and on par with the other squads. Let's start with fixes to the squad itself. It's pretty easy. Just add one attack to those first two tokens. 5-4-3-2-2 instead of 4-3-3-2-2. And we'll add one defense to all but the first name token, so 0-1-2-3-4. In other words, an extra defense to the generic squad's tokens. Thematically, sort of makes sense Scorpions would start with less attack because they look smaller than the other fighters and we didn't really see them do a ton of damage. But thematic doesn't mean playable, especially when you start with 2 less attack than other squads. So the attack bump. But if they are smaller, they should be harder to hit, so the defense bump, which works with the cloak to make the Scorpions a more defensive squadron than their attacking counterparts. The maneuver dial? Just fine. Just add a red 4 straight for some speed, and then it fits in nicely between the Fed and Dominion fighters. A little less maneuverable than Fed, but faster. A little slower than Dominion, but more maneuverable. Last ship change? Give it a rear 90 arc, so we can actually fully use those torpedoes that came with the freaking ship. I can honestly believe the Scorpions were designed with rear arcs in mind. I can't explain the torpedoes otherwise. And at some point editing or printing, an error left it off the ship base, and it wasn't noticed until after production, and that would fit right in with some of the quality issues we've seen from WizKids in this game. Okay, enough rant. Upgrade fixes. This really isn't that bad. The easiest upgrades are support ship and cover fire, because they're the same as they are for the other squadrons. Might as well leave those unchanged. Almost as easy is torpedo strike, because there's nothing wrong with it as a torpedo card, if it's range 1-3 or 2-3, not 1-2. Oh, and add that rear firing arc. Done. Reconnaissance is also fine. Could stand to be a 1-point card maybe, but works well enough as is. I mean, fighters finally have a scan to use against minefields. Thrusters is also fine, but I would make one of 2 changes. Either it costs 1 point less, or at the current printed cost, have it apply to non-red maneuvers, not just green maneuvers. Focus Strike is also fine as written, but knock a point off. 5 is just too much. It should still be a little expensive though, because you are getting a chance to apply that perfect critical hit. Cloaked fighters and hidden formation, they need the most work. And there are 2 ways we can handle this. First method. Cloaked fighters should add both cloak and sensor echo to the action bar, and maneuvers should be limited to non-reds, not 1s. That's worth 4 points to me. Echo is fine limited to the 1 template because of hidden formation. Hidden formation would only cost 2, but require cloaked fighters to be fully effective, hence that steep discount. It would also allow the use of the 2 template for echo when cloaked, but still have the discard and taking an aux option to let an uncloaked squad echo with either template. The other way to handle these 2 is to keep cloak and echo separate. Cloaked fighters should still allow non-red maneuvers though. Hidden formation would then allow echo with the 1 template when uncloaked, and you take an aux but you disable instead of discard. If cloak though, you get to use the 2 template, and obviously no aux or disable. Finally, knock the price of each card down to 3 points for a total of 6 if you take both upgrades. And that's all I think it takes. To boil it down to bare minimum, extra attack and defense on the tokens, 90 rear arc, change up cloak fighters and hidden formation. The other upgrades are optional, but they'll add that extra bit of playability. Try it out and let us know how it works for you and what you would change. Until next time, keep thinking outside that box.